Oh boy, oh boy! There's a lot of rumors going around today, especially around PlayStation titles appearing on Xbox. It seems indexing from Google has sent people a frenzy, but are these actually true or are these actually false? You know, games coming to Xbox. Now, there's no denying that this isn't meaning that games won't appear on Xbox, but there is an underlying feeling here that people are being misled. However, one thing is clear, the community has jumped all over it, and hopefully, this won't put egg on their face. So, let's get into it and see exactly what's going on. So as you can see here, you got PlayStation will never put their first-party single-player AAA games on Xbox. It has begun. Horizon Zero Dawn. You got Clute also posting the same thing from the German Xbox site, and you've got Astel as well. In fact, these aren't the only games that are being tooted. Well, the only game. You've also got The Last of Us Part 2, Marvel Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think there's a couple of others as well. But in reality, what you're looking at is essentially these games, well, they're not exactly, fresh off the back of the hen chicken spring, but these are pretty old titles, and with Ghost of Tsushima 2 just around the corner, now would be a really good time to put Ghost of Tsushima onto Xbox to kind of incentivize people. Hey, if you really like this game, there's a PlayStation 5 over there that you could go purchase and play the sequel, especially since the game isn't coming day and date to PC. It's still an incentive to push you to buy that platform and play it. So if Sony was actually smart, they would actually turn around and say, do you know what? This actually isn't a bad idea. We should put this one on there. For Christmas, we should definitely look at putting Marvel's Spider-Man remastered, or maybe bundle it with Spider-Man 2 or Miles Morales. Even put it Miles Morales as Spider-Man's remastered edition and port it over. These make perfect business sense. Horizon Zero Dawn clearly makes sense as they try to push this franchise out more and more because they just want this to be their bread and butter. They want Horizon to be the mascot of PlayStation. I don't know why. And don't get me wrong, the original Horizon Zero Dawn was fantastic. Forbidden West just wasn't very good. But they seem to want this game to really, really be the franchise that sets PlayStation apart. But do you know what? These games are old now and they're on PC. They should probably just port them over and give them a little bit more life and get a bit more money from the community from these. Now, the problem is these listings have been around for a couple of years. Now, obviously, some may say, well, you know, even if they've been there for a couple of years, they could have been taken down. Google listings to be scrubbed isn't that easy. And once the search engine picks it up and indexes it, it's a pain to get it off there. You kind of have to make a request, and then you have to scrub all, kind of references of this link and then remove it. And clearly that search engine has been searched on the actual German site, and that's why it's being found, or someone has basically created that string and put it into the search engine, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on the xbox.com.de site, and it's appeared. Again, this isn't to say that this is not going to appear on Xbox, but I think people are jumping the gun with this one. However, there is a however. A very similar thing happened with Helldivers 2. You know, that game that everyone said would never be on Xbox, and then it is on Xbox. In fact, it sold phenomenally well on Xbox. Well, this game basically had the same structure. It appeared in the search engine, and everyone said that it was not going to land. It was not going to be a thing. And well, lo and behold, it got announced that Helldivers 2 by Nixxes is coming. Now, all of these games, whether it's Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us, Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, Ghost of Tsushima, all of these games have in fact had a PC port done by Nixxes. And as we know, Nixxes has already purchased development kits from Xbox in order to port games, and they're clearly not going to just leave it with one game. Now, if people say Marathon, well, Bungie already has those kits, so doesn't really make sense. If you say fair games, well, that's probably going to get cancelled anyway. So at this point, what else there? Are we talking about MLB? They already have it. So who are we talking about that's actually going to benefit from these additional things that Nix's actually has? You know, are they going to do a Gran Turismo port to Xbox? Maybe. I mean, none of that. What people are saying is it's only for live service games. Buying a whole development kit for one game doesn't make sense. So there might be some truth to this. There might be some, you know, credible crumb breadstick, whatever you want to call it. But the point I'm making now, and I want people to understand, is don't get your hopes up that this is real. Now, there's a 50-50% chance that it is real, but that's all it is. It's a 50-50% chance because these links, these deep links, have existed for over 2 years. Now, what's being said here is when you actually do this search, it is being indexed. Now, as you can see here, someone did a Super Mario. I did test this link out. It is not being indexed as of yet. So there might be some truth to this after all. I don't know when this post was made. I'm just getting these screenshots as they are. But this one I've tested. I've made a search. I did Super Mario Odyssey, uh, Super Mario Odyssey, Xbox, and unlike the others, which did come up, that one did not come up. So it's interesting to see that these are actually appearing. Now, if you personally ask me, personally, I think there is more truth to this than there isn't because these games are old. These games aren't new. These games pretty much have passed their life cycle. They're not making any sales whatsoever. They're dead games on PlayStation right now, and they're dead games on PC. And if they release these games on Xbox, they would get a new lease of life. They would make more sales. Games like Ghost of Tsushima and Marvel Spider-Man, for sure. Horizon Zero Dawn is a mixed bag. I recommend people play it. The first one was phenomenal. Last of Us Part 2 is definitely a mixed bag. You're either going to be in the crowd that actually loves this game, or you're going to be in the crowd that absolutely stonkingly hates this game. But I think that all four of these definitely have a place within the Xbox community, and they will do very well. Well, from okay to amazingly well, right? So, as a business, I don't see any reason why Sony wouldn't place these onto Xbox because they already have them on PC. And the problem is, as of next year or in 18 months' time, these games will be fully playable on the Xbox anyway. So why not actually monetize these now and maximize your profits now so people can buy them now and then double dip later? Or those that come later that want to buy it, they can either buy the Steam version or the Xbox version, whatever version they want to play with the next generation Xbox. But that's like a year away. And who knows if that's not going to get delayed. Sony knows that Microsoft is going down the route of a hybrid PC. Everything is indicating that that's where they're going, and all of their PlayStation games on PC will be playable regardless. But they have a real opportunity right now to kind of step in, port these games over, which, you know, porting isn't that expensive, especially when you're going from PC to Xbox, and actually maximize sales on these games because I think at that point, you're going to get the biggest return on your revenue. Once the PC version of the Xbox comes out or the hybrid version of the Xbox comes out, websites like CD Keys and so forth that offer really cheap Steam games are going to be the go to for a lot of people. And that's a lot of loss of sales and loss of revenue for, for Sony. So this to me makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't you do it? It's a no brainer to me. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is doing the rounds at the moment. People are getting overly excited that this is actually happening because they're seeing these listings. But based on the information that I've seen, that I've looked up, it does seem like these have been indexed from as far back as 2 years ago. So do keep that in mind before you go over gallivanting and posting on socials and making yourself look like you're the superior one, and then ultimately those receipts will come back and haunt you for the rest of your life. Hey, I'm just looking out for you guys, okay? That's all I'm doing here. I am looking out for you guys. Don't say that I don't, because that is exactly what I'm doing. Do I want these games to come onto Xbox? Of course I do. I've got these all on PlayStation, but at the end of the day, I would love for the Xbox community to also experience some of these games. I mean, some of them you can already. What you used to be able to through GeForce Now on Xbox. Haven't tested Boosteroid in a long time on Xbox, so I don't really know how it runs. But if it's running perfectly fine right now, you can obviously jump on and play these through the cloud on your Xbox right now. But that requires some testing to do. But hey, that's the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Are these going to come to Xbox? I think they will, personally. I don't think they, even though the current way, these are basically being indexed, but I don't think that's to say that these aren't coming. These games, along with Days Gone and a couple of others like Returnal, make perfect sense to make the jump to Xbox. And considering they're just not selling any more of these games, this will give them a new lease, a new life. And then if they decide on the back of seeing Days Gone, for example, doing really well to release a Days Gone 2 and saying, hey, if you want to play this, you can go and play it on PlayStation. That's what Microsoft tried to do originally. Maybe Sony will be successful in doing so. Maybe not. But one can only try. But that is where I see them going at the moment. And who knows? Maybe we'll get Wolverine Day and Day as well. I'm just kidding. Who knows, right? All right, folks, that's the video. Make sure you don't put yourself in the middle of receipt nightmare hell. All right, peace out and remain legend.